Today, after reviewing the evidence that law enforcement has collected thus far, I am filing a criminal information charging Tyler James Robinson, age 22, with the following crimes. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital offense, for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Charlie Kirk under circumstances that created a great risk of death to others. Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime.
OK, got some more breaking news for you now. A very, very busy evening in politics, and it's this. The suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been charged with multiple offences in Utah, including aggravated murder, obstruction of justice and witness tampering. Officials in Utah have also confirmed they will seek the death penalty for Charlie Kirk's assassin. Of course, that is Tyler Robinson. Just to repeat that huge breaking news coming in, and that is this. The suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been charged with multiple offences in Utah, including aggravated murder, obstruction of justice and witness tampering. And perhaps the most dramatic point here to underline, officials in Utah have also confirmed they will seek the death penalty for Tyler Robinson, the assassin of Charlie Kirk. Let's get some immediate reaction from my panel on a very busy breaking news evening. Nadeem Zahawi, the death penalty once again rearing its head. Of course, it is legal in Utah, it is routine, and even death by firing squad can occur in Utah. Donald Trump said he'd push for the death penalty. The governor of Utah said the same. Do you think this is the correct outcome?
I do. I think what Tyler Robinson did was abhorrent, awful. And Utah and the people of America will feel that this is the right decision. I have to say, it's worth us just pausing a moment and thinking about his father, Tyler Robinson's father, who took him down and then turned him in, knowing full well that the likely outcome is probably the death penalty for his son, for what he'd done, for what he had committed, an awful, heinous murder of Charlie Kirk. So, you know, it's terrible. Terrible for America, terrible for democracy, if, you know, you get shot for your views, then actually the right answer is you have to pay the price.
Joe Phillips, an eye for an eye in this case. Do you agree with that?
No, I'm completely opposed to the death penalty in all circumstances. And I think it's very unfortunate, and I really respect what Nadeem's just said, and it's absolutely right. There are many people who will have been affected by this inadvertently, like the Tyler Robinson's own family, as well as obviously Charlie Kirk's widow. And it's a real shame that Donald Trump didn't use his opportunity to actually say, and now we need to honour Charlie Kirk's memory, because he was somebody who wanted to have conversations with people, and let's talk, let's tone it down, let's have debate, let's have civility. But he didn't. Instead of putting oil on troubled waters, what he did was put oil on and then throw a match on it. And it's a real shame, because we've heard J.D. Vance talking about doxing anyone who is celebrating or, you know,
well, why not?
Welcoming.
He's talking about people on the public dime. If you work for the public sector and you're glorifying the assassination of somebody simply for disagreeing with you, why should you be paid by the state?
Well, you know my views on social media, Martin. I mean, I've said it enough on here. But actually, a good thing, and the governor of Utah was really good, and he said, actually, sometimes people need to get off social media and maybe have a conversation.
But the governor of Utah also called for the death penalty.
Well, he may well have done, but
ultimately, he's responsible for that. That's been the decision that's been passed down.
Yeah, and I can tell you that even if the death penalty is sentenced, if that is a sentence given, you know he will be on death row for years and years and years and years, because how many people in America have been on death row for years and years and years for appeals?
Nadeem Zahawi, let's bring you back in now. Of course, the conversation is bound to turn to should we be reconsidering the death penalty in the United Kingdom? It's something for a long time a lot of people have been opposed to, but I wonder if times are a-changing.
So it's almost, when people are upset and emotional and emotions are running high, it's easy to say we need the death penalty back. My issue with it, and I like to be evidence-driven, I founded a business, YouGov, to sort of give people the research, the evidence, is actually where the death penalty applies, juries were finding it hard to convict because human nature, nobody wants, few people would want that on their conscience.
But where the
and
evidence
so
is
you end up with
irrefutable.
Unsafe
Well, the evidence is
outcomes.
irrefutable like this.
This is very different. I think this is, in my view, the right outcome. And I suspect if you talked to Tyler Robinson's father, he knew this would be the outcome. But he did the right thing. It was abhorrent. It was criminal to a man who just wanted to have a conversation on a university campus, who travelled to Oxford and other places to have these conversations, to be killed so horrifically in front of his young daughters
But Nadeem,
it does deserve the death penalty.
What about Melinda, the Minnesota lawmaker, killed in her own home, and her husband?
Equally awful.
And the other senator in Minnesota on that same night who was severely injured. What about Nancy Pelosi and her husband attacked in their own home? Donald Trump didn't mention those. He's turned it into a battle of the left is to blame for this. Tyler Robinson, from what we know, was working alone. He wasn't working with a group of people. He may turn out to have a very, peculiar life and a peculiar view of the world. But I would just say one thing on
I suspect, though, on that, Joe, because it was live and so graphic.
Yes, yeah.
In front of humanity, in front of people.
Yes, of course.
That it was so emotional. I suspect that's what's driven a lot of that. That doesn't mean all the other crimes should not be condemned.
No,
I think it's right to condemn
as
them.
was, the killing of David Amos and Joe Cox in this country.
Absolutely right.
But I would just say one thing on the death penalty. There is never going to be, maybe in this case, Nadeem would argue against it, but unless you have got a 150% guarantee...
Well, this is.
But you asked about this country, Martin. What about Lucy Letby? If it turns out in years down the road that actually she wasn't guilty, as some people think.
What about Axel Rutter-Cabana?
Well, I think the death penalty has no place in a civilised society.
We have to move on, leave it there. We've got so much news to fit in tonight, as well as that astonishing breaking news that Charlie Kirk's killer faces the death penalty. Tyler Robinson